Welcome back to the Be a Force podcast, brought to you by B Squared Management. I'm your host, Melissa Lopez, and on today's episode, I've got with me Linwood Jackson Jr., and we're going to talk all about music, books, and life. And we just had a laugh about that, how I said we're going to talk about life. So looking forward to talk with you all about that today, Linwood. How are you?
Doing excellent. Staying healthy, or trying to stay healthy, or
And you
doing my
know what?
best to try to stay healthy.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
For
There's nothing else
sure.
you can
For
do.
sure.
Yeah. So let's just dive right in. So, you've got books, you've got music. Which one came first? It's like the chicken or the egg.
That's a tough one. Music came first because I started writing poetry when I was young, like 7 years old, and then I realized I could like manipulate the words to form sentences that could rhyme, and then I could rhyme within the sentences in other sentences, and I could make sense out of those rhymes and other sentences, and it just became songs. So from poetry, I just moved into writing music,
So
which
it's like
was
it is a chicken or the egg question then, because like it's like you started writing poetry and then that became music, but then that became books.
it did, and it's weird because I realize I don't spend like I'd be such a liar if I said that I don't want to call myself a musician because I devote all my time to writing, um, whether it's research or poetry. But I found that there's music in poetry. Without the instrumental, like there's the music is in the illustration, the music is in the analogy, the music is in the feeling it can spark. And so like that to me, I devote more time to writing than I actually do to music, even though I do continually write lyrics every other night. Just haven't hit the studio as I should, like a good musician. But I devote all of my time, all of my energy, all of the money from sales that I get right back into my writing, just because I don't know. I'm a writer for life. So it's the switch is there. The switch is definitely there. I love music to death, but I love writing to life.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. What a great way to put it. Um, well then I guess yeah, see then it becomes a thing because at the end of the day there's poetry and music, right?
Yeah,
So it's almost like they go hand in hand. It's
they
almost like
do. Yeah,
one doesn't exist without the other almost, right?
it's absolutely true. It's ridiculous. Even in the music that I write, I like to put the message in my poetry in my music. So I don't like to call my music. I like to call my music poetry, even though it sounds like the genre of hip hop or R&B or pop, rock, rap, or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what genres are today in 2020.
Yeah.
So like it's definitely true. Like when I write my music, I like to put the essence of my being into my music as I do my poetry. The two are the same, just one with an instrumental in the background.
Right, right. And that's why I say like they're one and the same. Like one almost can't exist without the other.
For sure.
They need each other. It's like they're soulmates. Uh like that's awesome. So I would love to know when was the first time that you united your two gifts?
First time, I would say I did a whole lot of recording at the age of 16. At the
Okay.
age of 15, 16, 17, I did a whole lot of recording. Even produced a demo and shipped it out to different places. Even got like, I was able to get a mini recording opportunity, but the timing wasn't right, so I really couldn't. And at that point, I realized that what I was writing wasn't actually my character. So I'm glad that I kind of took a back seat. So I stopped writing around 19, and then I picked up writing again when I was maybe 27. So I'm 30 right now. So for the past like 3 years, I've just been going at my essence in my music. So back then at 15, 16, 17, the conflicting period of seeing society not matching up to what I believe my reality is,
Hmm.
and being dictated to what I should think my reality should be, even though I see that it's not.
Hmm.
Getting that anger out in my music at that age wasn't really my essence. It wasn't me. It was the frustration talking. So I saw that and I had to just stop. And then I picked it back up some years later.
Sometimes I do think you have to step away and kind of like reevaluate and then move forward. Um, because you
Yep.
kind of have to like just take a step back and just look at it. And I feel like that with art, all arts, you kind of have to like just step back, look at it for a second. I mean, I hear visual artists say that all the time, that sometimes they step away from their paintings and just take a look and then go back in. And I think that that's important for, I think, all aspects of life. Um, and we're talking about your music, but also within your writing and stuff. Um, you've got a book, A Fallen Record, and that makes me think about like your music, as well as
Mm.
this transition that you're speaking of. Now, would you say that that book was about that transition, or am I just totally off beat, off base?
Actually, you're not. I mean, in the context of music, that book is about how the Christian religion failed to live up to the philosophy that is in the Bible. So
Mhm.
it's a history book, giving from within the Bible the opinion of Paul, Peter, and John about how the Christian religion and the back then Jewish Christian ministers, they failed to give the true or the right philosophy as the first apostles were teaching it. And so if you
Mm.
think about it in the context of music, it actually is a fallen record because they kind of changed the tune of the song and the philosophy that they were teaching. So you're definitely on point with that. And the analogy is ridiculous because it is a fallen record. It became a very fallen record to now it's like a broken record. And to now when you hear these certain terms, it puts people off, or
Right.
it makes you think of a song you don't want to have replayed in your mind because it affects your well-being somehow.
It
So
does.
yeah.
It does. It does. So I'm, I'm curious to know, for yourself, because I noticed that a lot of your books, you speak a lot about religion, and I
Yep.
would love to know how you kind of, merge your religion with your music. And because that's one of those things. A lot of people, when they hear that, they immediately, like you said, some people get like turned off. They're like, "Oh,
Yep.
religion, music, no thanks." But
Yep.
I would love to know how you merge it, and you do merge it in a way that, for me, like, had I not known anything of it, I wouldn't have really even thought about it, honestly, had I not known that that's something that's important to you. But I'd love to know, like, how do you blend it for yourself to make sure that that doesn't happen?
I do it in a way where the definition of religion isn't necessarily so blatant. Studying the different, I guess, philosophies, in my main focus being the philosophy that's in the Bible. The Bible breaks down the definition of religion in two specific ways. The first way that it breaks down religion is the first philosophy is that you can become lovely or beautiful or intelligent or faithful or pious or worthy of existing by doing religious deeds, sticking to theological theories, placing confidence in what has been traditionally accepted and taught, and continually doing these things so that you can please, I guess, a quote unquote divine eye. That's the first philosophy of religion. The second philosophy of religion is that, or what that is within the Bible, is that you really don't do any of that because you're really not pleasing any divine eye. No such divine eye exists, is what the Bible is teaching in a sense. But the actions of doing that first philosophy are to please self. The right way to go about it is to take the words that are within the book, you take those words and you apply those words to your life practically and mentally and inwardly, and you go through the experience of failing to get to know them, and then you go through the experience of understanding what your failure was so that you can transform your failure into knowledge that you can actually live by and you can decode your life by. And by doing so, you regain understanding of who you are as a person, as a male, as a female, and as a mind. So the Bible discounts the first philosophy of going about doing right, sticking to traditions, and remaining on theories, and goes into the direction of you taking on your living experience, both personally and devotionally, to the max, where you can feel everything to the point where you can then empathize with someone or another human being or many other human beings, to where you can allow your highest potential to be given to those people you feel for.
Oh,
So
wow.
when I'm writing my music, everything that I've come to study, everything that I write about, the I get the language and the context of the definition of religion, and knowing that language and context I don't make my music as the traditional religious music is.
Right.
I make my music geared towards the correct philosophy of what true and personal devotional health should be, which is your experience magnified through your suffering and through your joys. So when I'm writing, I'm actually writing about the true definition of religion by speaking about my faults, by speaking about my failures, by talking about the different loves I encounter and experiences, not in a perverse way, but in a way that's wholesome and that allows me to connect with another human being or to realize I should not connect with that human being. So the separation is through the definition of religion to where I can then place the experience of being a human being into my writing so that I can enlighten and I can in a sense inspire also my own self, reminding myself where I've come from and where I'm going so that whoever else hears it, they can know, okay, he's saying this, he's been there. I'm kind of at that place. I can relate to it. I can rock with what he's saying. I may not read his books, but I can listen to music because I'm into music. So that's really
Well,
what I do music for.
and music is a universal language. I always say
It
that.
is.
It
It
it,
is.
it truly is. And I mean, it's one of those things like I mean, I like you said, like maybe I won't read his books, but it's okay because your message is going to be, shared through your music also. So either way,
Yeah.
the message is going to be shared, and I think that that's something that's really important, that no matter what, you're sharing your message one way or another. And I think that's really awesome. So when we're talking about your music, you've got a song called Chance, so tell me about that.
That song I placed it out in 2018. Chance is basically about you're going to have family members that are going to have opinions about you that don't match their criteria of who they think you should be.
Hmm.
And you're going to have friends that will do the same thing.
Hmm.
And you're going to have a little voice inside of you doing what they do sevenfold.
Hmm.
So you can't listen to what is inside of you. You can't listen to what is outside of you. The only thing you can do is take a chance on what you believe is real. And that's what the song Chance is about.
But then, like,
And
how do you know? Like, how do you know it's real?
you know it well in the song actually I talk about criticism, the criticism I get. And for me personally, I love hate. I I
Really?
I love hate. I love the energy that hate gives because I know that if I'm doing something that is decent and edifying in the intention and you're not liking it, it's one a reason for me to question why you're not liking it, just silently to question why you're not liking it. And two, I know you're not liking it because I'm touching a chord inside of you that you do not want to acknowledge. So
Mm.
I'm looking at that hate, and it's really not a hate against me. You're actually a fan of mine.
Not to toot your own horn, but a toot toot hey.
I mean, because it's the only way you can look at it at this point. I mean, when I first started writing in 2000, when I first went public in 2017, and I was debating with myself, should I actually put these things out because what they're teaching in churches is not actually what is in the Bible, and I'm going to get a lot of flack, I'll say
Mhm.
gently, flack. And of course, definitely as the years went on, I did. But there's also minds out there that say thank you, and there's minds out there that say I appreciate everything that you're doing, and I can't believe anyone on this earth is saying the things that you're saying. Keep doing it. And so when it's the love and the hate. I don't feed off of the love. I feed off of the hate because the hate is inspiration that I'm doing something right. And
What an interesting way of thinking about it. And I don't disagree. I honestly don't even disagree with you, to tell you the truth. I really don't. I don't disagree with you. It's just I love when I hear people say things like that because I'm like, yeah.
it's the only way you can look at it because no matter what you do, like no matter how I look, I'm going to have something negative said about me. I've come out of like for example, I've walked out of the mall, and as I'm walking out of the mall, I've two girls pass by me, and one of them says, "Ooh, girl, look at him." Literally, this happened. And the other girl says, "No, don't look at him. Don't you see what he'll play you?" And in my head, I'm going, I wonder what these two girls see when they see me, because they have no idea that
They
of
don't
the
know you.
they don't. They're just looking at how I look. They're looking at how I walk. And so just from the outward appearance, I mean, from
Yeah.
that to being told, okay, you're not able to be on our show because we can't have you talking about this certain subject, even though you write about the things that we talk about. So there, there's nothing that we can do except feed off of that hate. Hate lets you know that you're beautiful in some way. There's there's hate that you actually do need to sit down and go, well, wait a minute now. What is this? Why are they charging at me? But then there's another form of hate when your essence, when you're allowing your essence to glow, and when you're giving to this age something that you know is missing, and something that everyone around you that hears you speak is saying is missing. When you put that out there and you get hate for it, it's just like, thank you for letting me know I'm beautiful. And also, thank you for letting me know that you know you're not beautiful.
Ugh.
But that doesn't mean that me and you cannot talk. And that doesn't mean that you can't let me know that your beauty, you're hiding it for some reason. Let's get to that reason together. You can change it. You can, because all hate is simply something is just wrong, mentally and emotionally. So, I'm always willing to talk to anybody. I can care less. I'm very open about me. And even
Well,
in my books and my interviews or whatever, you know,
well, I always say that, like, well, I learned this from my aunt, and I always say, and I stand by it. And even though sometimes I fail at it, but I try to remind myself as much as I can that someone's opinion of me is really not my business.
for
It's
sure.
really not. Like,
For sure.
so whatever you think, not my business. I hope that you have a good opinion of me, but if not, I mean, it's just not my business. And I also learned this thing um through something, a radio station that I listened to, where it was like, 25% of people that you meet will actually like you and cannot be persuaded otherwise. The rest of people
Wow.
either don't like you, they do like you, but they could be persuaded not to like you, or they don't like you, but could be persuaded, to like you. So there's only a good 25% of people that are solidly going to just like you regardless. And then everyone else, there's another set, like 50% of people that's like a toss up. And at some point, you kind of have to just go, like, okay, well, let's just focus on those 25%. And then everybody else who comes my way, like, awesome. But if not, like, I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, for me, it's like I can only look to those 25% if I look to the 100% personally. And that's where my books are geared towards,
Hmm.
is the self confidence and the self development that your own self can take
Right.
and digest
Yeah.
and go through the conflict of understanding that absolutely, I believe, and I'm just gonna speak, just talking, I believe 0% of us on this planet have any kind of confidence or love for our own self. And I don't think that we're born with that knowledge of self-confidence or self-love. And that's actually the reason why I write, is my journey for learning self-love is the reason why I write, and is the reason why I put everything out there. And whoever doesn't vibe with it, because I understand the essence and I understand the process of going through self-love, that hate is just a form of someone who has not gone through that process,
Right. Right.
who may be afraid to go through that process. For some reason, it has nothing to do with me, but just because I'm mouthing it, I'm stating and I'm showing the problem, a problem that they may not want to look at
Yeah, when
personally.
it comes front.
And that's the reason, why I'm born, why I write. I
That,
I I want you to pick up anything that I I write. I want you to listen to anything that I say in my music. And I want you to feel like I'm challenging you to love yourself.
Wow. Wow.
Simple as that.
That's awesome. I mean, you've got such a great message and you share it through your music. Now, before I let you go, and I'll let you go in a minute, but I'd love to know what have been some of the highs in your career so far?
The people, the people that I meet that just let me know that they appreciate what I'm saying. The different people that are sitting in churches and are honest with me, and they're honest to the point where they're saying, I'm waiting for my minister to convert me, and it's not happening, literally. Or they're saying, I'm sitting in church and I'm waiting for a message to, I'm just waiting for something. And they're going repeatedly and they're not getting that message. But then when they hear something from me, or they read a chapter in a book or something, they'll send me an email or they'll give me a phone call, people I do not even know, and they'll say, just thank you,
Wow.
because you're out there doing something about this.
Right. Yep.
And I mean, that's the high. That's my high point, was when I know that the issue that I have within me, when I can put that out there and someone else relates to it and can be educated from my own issues and can see a solution through them. That's definitely a plus 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 for me.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. I mean, you've got so much great information and you're like, oh my gosh, so deep. I love it. I love it. I think you're gonna definitely help touch so many people out there. Now lastly, before I know I keep saying I'm gonna let you go, but then I can't. But so far in your music, is there a song in particular that like touches you like to the core that no matter, like when you're writing it or when you listen to it, that just really still like really hits home?
It does. I haven't finished it yet,
Okay.
but there is a song that I did record, and it talks about my songs. If they're not talking about you taking a chance with your the essence that you have within you in this life to reach the potential that you know you can reach, despite fear, despite consequences, uh, purely the essence of that high potential. My and if it's not talking about love, loving yourself, your heart and your mind, then my books are about my encounters that I have and my experiences when it comes to into the public realm of putting material that is within the Bible into the religious world of the Christian philosophy, and the different hate, or the just the negativity from trying to make clear a philosophy that clearly diverts from what is within the Bible. So responses from pastors, or the experience from that, I also write into my music. And this one particular song, I wrote about that, and I wrote about the hardship that I go through to get this message, not necessarily to people, but to the ministers that are teaching the people, and how difficult it is to to unlock a chained mind that is so set on seminary trained philosophy that they can't extend to what is actually written, and to dig into it and to investigate it and to examine it. And I write about the pain, the disappointment, the sorrow, and I also write about the mission that despite all of that, I have to get that message out. I have to do what I have to do, not necessarily for the people right now, but for the ages when I'm not here, so that there can be some kind of voice left over. We're not left with this hawk of a philosophy that's kind of diverging from what is within the book itself, and
Yeah.
the mental and the emotional and the inward health that can be taken from that philosophy that's withdrawn due to a religious idea. So that's in that one song. Everything that I just said is in that one song, and that
Goodness,
song touches me.
that's so intense, honey.
It's, yeah, it is.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
like honestly though, like I love it. 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 I love it because I love how introspective you are and just looking at the world and really like diving in. And as you said before, you are spreading your message, whether you want to read it or listen to it. Either way, you are spreading the message. And that to me is just so incredible. And to be able to put that much into one song, incredible.
Yes. Yes.
Incredible. Incredible. I think it's awesome. So let everybody know where we can be ready for that, plus get their hands on all your books and everything you've released so far.
For sure. You can check out my website, linwoodjacksonjr.com. I've got my music and my books there, and interviews, videos that I do. LIN though, LINWOOD JacksonJR.com.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Linwood Jackson Jr. Be sure to check him out. Like, if you have gotten your word for the day, the week, the month, or the year, honey, Linwood is the way to go. I can tell you that much. Because no matter what you want to do, like if you're not really into reading, no biggie, because his music will take care of you too. So Linwood Jackson Jr., thank you so much for talking to me. I really appreciate what you're doing. And until we speak again, be safe. Thank you again.
Yes, thank you. Same to you.
Thanks again for listening to the Be a Force podcast, brought to you by B Squared Management. I'm your host, Melissa Lopez. And until next time, be a force.